My name is Vic. I'm from Texas, and I first got into the Bitcoin space in 2017. I'm a lawyer by trade. The reason why I call Bitcoin 1000x technology is because those purchases that I made in 2017 and 2018 have literally 1000x since then due to the HODL philosophy. And I'm not going to sell them until I get to my price target. And my price target for Bitcoin is $1.75 million per coin. Basically, it allows people, ordinary people like you and me, to accumulate these Satoshis. It really doesn't matter how many you buy at this point. What matters is that you get some and get some as fast as possible. Preemption means getting there first with the maximum capability that you're able to get there with. If I have $1,000 right now, what I would do is buy $500 immediately today, and then I would save the $500 later on just in case it went down under $100,000. My life has been way improved by Bitcoin. I got on board really fast. I stayed convicted. My nephews, I'm like, hey, here's some Bitcoin. I want them to learn about the Bitcoin. I want them to be curious about it and understand what it is. My primary recommendation to somebody who's just getting into the Bitcoin space is, number one, don't spend what you can't afford to lose. Pay everything that you absolutely need to survive. Once you have anything left over, whether it's $10, $20, put it into Bitcoin. Do the research.
Welcome to Sat Chats, the Bitcoin podcast where we chat about sats. Sats are the smallest part of a Bitcoin, the same way pennies are the smallest part of a dollar. With Sat Chats, we are building the world's biggest Bitcoin welcome center to serve as your gateway to generational wealth. So if you are brand new to Bitcoin,
we want to chat about sats with you.
Yeah! Yes, I'm your host, Stuart.
And I'm your co-host, Anna Bevan.
And today we officially have our fourth satillionaire in the studio today.
Very exciting.
Go. We ask everyone, sign up, satchats.com. And Vic did just that. He found us on YouTube. He went to satchats.com. He signed up for his slot in the studio today. It's literally doable.
Click the big button and everything.
And now he is number 124. He's got his very own number. Come get your own. Come get one of these numbers over here.
Everyone's going to want these numbers.
Okay, these numbers, even though we're also making them up, are more important than the numbers that the government is making up, okay?
Ooh, yes.
I'm just promising that to you right now. They're more meaningful, guaranteed. So Vic has a message for all of our satillionaires in the audience who are still on the fence. They haven't stacked their first sats yet. And his message is, look, Bitcoin is going to go up 1,000x, period.
Boom.
And he calls it 1,000x tech, which is awesome.
I think that's pretty straightforward.
So,
I love it.
Vic, introduce yourself to our satillionaires and then tell us the story of the time you were on the metro in DC and realized, oh my gosh, Bitcoin is 1,000x tech.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that introduction. And thanks for having me on the show. So my name is Vic, from Texas, born and raised. And I first got into the Bitcoin space in 2017 when I bought the all-time high. And then was later dumped on basically by some of the bigger whales in 2018. The reason why I call Bitcoin 1000x technology is because those purchases that I made in 2017 and 2018 have literally 1000x since then due to the HODL philosophy, hold on for dear life. So the Satoshis that I purchased at the all-time low, which I think was like $3,200 or $3,500 back in 2017. I still have them, and I didn't sell them at the all-time low, and I didn't sell them at the next all-time high, which was $20,000 or $90,000 or $124,000. I still have them. And so I'm not going to sell them until I get to my price target. And my price target for Bitcoin is $1.75 million per coin. And I have fairly good conviction of that price target. It's less bullish than some of the other big players in this space, such as Michael Saylor, who I think his price target is like $13 million a coin. but I think it is a conservative price target. And there are a lot of reasons for that. But those 2017 coins will have probably 6,000x by that time, which probably be around 2030 possibly. But it's upward and onward with this technology. Basically, it allows ordinary people like you and me, to accumulate these Satoshis, which 100 million Satoshis is one whole Bitcoin. But if you can't afford 100 million Satoshis today, you can at least buy 100, or you can buy 1,000, or you could buy 20,000. It really doesn't matter how many you buy at this point. What matters is that you get some, and get some as fast as possible. I have had this strategy since 2017. It's called the strategy of preemption. And so I'm a lawyer by trade. So I've been a lawyer since 2011 and work for the federal government, though I don't want to say what I do for the federal government. So all the comments and statements are my own personally, don't represent the federal government. But I'm a lawyer by trade. And they teach you in law school that there's this principle of first to the courthouse, right? Who's going to go first to get the thing that they want to get, whether it's a complaint or claim, or some sort of filing of a property record, right? So this is what I call preemption. Preemption means getting there first, and getting there with the maximum capability that you're able to get there with. If you need to borrow a little bit money, don't go crazy, but I would borrow like $1,000 and go and get some. It doesn't matter, because what's going to happen in the next, I think, while Trump is president, is it's going to balloon. I think it's going to blow up. That's just my opinion. And if I had $1,000 right now, what I would do is I'd buy $500 immediately today, and then I would save the $500 later on, just in case it went down under $100,000. If it went down under $100,000 in price, I would then deploy that $500 to buy more Satoshis. And then with respect to the interest on the loan, because you take a loan out, you got to pay interest on the loan, right? I would just it's called servicing the interest, where basically you just pay the interest every single month, and just hold on to the Satoshis until they 1,000x, or hold on to the Satoshis until they 500x. And therefore, the interest that you're paying today to service the loan are canceled out by the exponential growth of Bitcoin over time. So
you're the third guest in like 5 or 6 episodes who is describing what I have now come to understand is called the carry trade. So I've actually found a term for it.
Oh, nice.
And the carry trade is where you take out a loan. Maybe it's secured through collateral, which is safer. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's not even secured because you have that much conviction in Bitcoin. I know I do. But effectively, you take out a loan in weak currency, and then you use it to buy strong currency. And then by the time the loan on the weak currency comes due, the strong currency is so much stronger that you barely need any of it to pay off the loan of I feel like I feel like Bitcoin and Satoshi Nakamoto and the gods of decentralization are sending Sat Chats a message, which is to do this freaking carry trade already.
I'm so glad that that's what stood out to you. The first thing that stood out to me was why 1.75 million?
Yeah, I want to know that too.
I was like, that's a very specific, not round enough to be a general guess.
Yeah.
Second thing was this carry trade thing that it has been consuming my mind since we heard Matt's episode.
Yeah, I know.
It is, and I'm so glad that we're sharing a brain.
Golly, it's like, let me get some of this. Now, how did you get to $1.75 million as your target for Bitcoin? Because that does seem like you did some calculations.
Specific. Yeah.
Well, I started at 1.5 million, just as a general round number that I thought was healthy and very, very much doable. So in 2017, 2018, I started listening to just pretty much any podcast I had time to listen to, whether it be the What Bitcoin Did podcast, the Pompiano podcast, the YouTube. There weren't that many that at that time. There are a lot more today. And listening to what the smarter people who were in this space saying. So in a lot of ways, it's just an echo chamber number, unfortunately. But you can easily get to it by taking all of the cash in the world, that's US dollar cash or other types of foreign nation currencies, and then also the bonds, the debt in the world, right? So the $37 trillion in bonds, right? Because what do you do with a US Treasury bond, right? What you do is at some point that bond will be converted or can be converted into cash, right? The fiat US dollar currencies, that's what a bond is. A bond is a promise to pay on the face value of the bond plus interest, right? So if I have a $100,000 bond that I sold to China, China holds it as collateral. Okay, great. What happens 10 years from now, 20 years from now when they sell that bond? It's converted to cash. So in other words, there's a lot more cash in the world than I think people really give credit for. There's probably about just drowning in oceans of cash, right? The problem, I think, is as far as why people feel poorer each month is because all the cash is in the wrong places. It's in corporate entities, it's in hedge funds, it's in endowment funds, it's overseas, it's locked up basically. So it's not in the mom and pop, people who actually need it to pay their energy bills or people who need it to pay, the mortgage and things like that. But at the end of the day, if you take the 21 million Bitcoins, right, and you literally just divide some part of that cash and also bonds on the world stage by 21 million, I mean, it could just be 5% of the 37 trillion. You're going to get well over $1.5 million in Bitcoin in terms of price, right? So what the 1.5 million comes from is the assumption, it's my assumption that Bitcoin will not go away fundamentally because it's open source technology and it's a great idea. And it has utility, it has a use case. It's a use case today is store of value, it's a savings technology. And so as it continues to grow, it will continue to serve as almost kind of like a sponge that soaks up excess cash and excess collateral, like the bonds that will eventually turn to cash at some point. So the 1.5 million is a very conservative number where I have divided 21 million Bitcoins into, I don't know, $55 trillion worth of cash. And that's kind of like, ta-da, I get to 1.5 million. I'm not a mathematician, obviously, but it's a conservative number. And so the 1.75 comes from this. This is my personal approach to this sell price, right? So I have X number of Bitcoins. And what I do is each year that Bitcoin does not get to 1.5 million, I jack up the price to another $100,000. So the 1.5 million number came I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. And I was like, I think this is a good way to price Bitcoin, right? Because the discussion in this ecosystem is how do you price this thing, right? And I think a fair way to price it is to assume that it's going to be soaking up some of the cash and some of the bonds and some of the collateral, which it already is with real estate too. People are selling their homes to buy Bitcoin, which I would do if I was a homeowner, which I'm not, but I can get into that later. And then basically when it doesn't get to 1.5, my philosophy is I'm punishing those people who, it sounds bad, punishing, but basically I'm saying, okay, we're not at 1.5 million yet. Well, then how about 1.6, right? And so each year that it doesn't get to 1.5, I jack up the price another $100,000. So that's how I got 1.75. So it's been about 2.5 years since it's not gotten to 1.5 because I thought we'd be way at 1.5 by now. But it continues to linger. Oh, yeah. I think we should be above 1 million at this point.
Oh, geez.
But we're not there. So,
and you think we should be above 1 million already, just because enough people should know about it already and be driving it closer to its true value, or what? Or what?
Or just based on past trajectories?
Yeah.
Well, past trajectories, I think the charts, the rainbow chart that folks have seen clearly show that it can easily get to over 1 million today, but also institutional and nation state adoption. So what I think is happening with the institutional, when I say institutional, I mean corporate entities, nation states, hedge funds, endowment funds, private wealth funds, these legacy legal entities that have been around for, like, some of them for centuries. Okay. They have so much capital and so much cash that they are not willing to buy Bitcoin. And what I think is happening is that the plebs like myself have created this really historical anomaly to, like, save money in, and it's called Bitcoin. And so rather than, and it can't be destroyed, obviously, because it's like electricity. You can't uninvent it, right? It's out there. The toothpaste is out of the toothpaste bottle. You can't put it back in, right? So it's already out here. And so what you do is you adopt it. You basically slowly but surely, at an institutional glacial pace, adopt it. And though that adoption means purchases, I think there have been so many major, large purchases in the last 2 years that I can't keep track of them out anymore. The last one I saw, I think, was a Japanese corporate entity this week purchased $352 million or something like that, 300 and something plus $million worth of Bitcoin. And so I think the Michael Saylor approach with the strategy is what I think a lot of companies are going to be doing, which is what I call preemption. They want to be first to the courthouse. They want to be first to get some because of what it is and what it will continue to be as we move forward in time. So yeah, that's kind of a long discussion, a long way of saying, I think 1.75 is very conservative. I think we should have already been there. I think the last administration, the Biden administration, and the last SEC chair, Gensler, really slowed down the pace of adoption. And that's unfortunate, because the United States really should be a fast and furious player in this space. It is consistent with U.S., in my opinion, okay, this is my personal opinion, I think it's consistent with U.S. philosophy, U.S. principles, innovation, and being the dominant player in financial markets. Without Bitcoin, or ignoring or intentionally slowing down Bitcoin adoption, that is antithetical, in my opinion, to what we should be doing in here in the West. So we're not at 1.5 million. So what do I do? Well, until we get there, I just bump my price up another 100K until we do get there. And so next year it'll be 1.8 million. And then until we get that S curve type of explosion that we all expect.
Here's my question to you, Vic.
Mm-hmm.
I do not have a number. And here's why. When I look at the dollar, I see a form of money that is flawed. And when I look at Bitcoin, I see a form of money that is outstanding. So my goal is to convert from dollars to Bitcoin and never go back. I don't see a future where I say, okay, my Bitcoin journey has come to an end. I'm now exiting back into dollars, because if I exit back into dollars, I am going back to a form of money that is losing its strength over time. And why would I ever want to do that? So do you see Bitcoin as a vehicle to eventually exit and have enough dollars to live on for the rest of your life? Do you truly think you're going to exit Bitcoin back into dollars at some point?
Yes and no. So the answer to your question is yes, in that I can't buy a house with Bitcoin most of the time, right? I think if I go to another Bitcoiner and say, hey, sell me your house in Bitcoin, right? They probably will do it, right? But if I just go to Zillow or some other, rental or home app or whatever and try to buy a house in Bitcoin, everything's priced in dollars is what I'm trying to get at. So the Bitcoin, in terms of saving and holding it for the appropriate time as a savings technology that will 1000x, maybe I don't live long enough to see it 1000x. Maybe it just 500x from here. That's fine. When it does 500x from here, what I'm going to do is probably sell a little bit to buy a house. Okay. And it's not going to be this grandiose mansion that is a pain in the butt to maintain and pain in the butt to pay taxes on. What it's going to be is what I need and what I want, and that'll be it. But it's not going to be all my Bitcoin. There's absolutely no way I'm selling all my Bitcoin. There's no way. Ain't going to happen. So the answer to your question is no, in the sense that I intend to pass the Bitcoin down to my heirs. So I'm going to pass it down to my heirs, or maybe give it to a nonprofit organization at some future time, like a charitable contribution or something like that at a future time. The reason I think that Bitcoin is not good to sell is because it's inherently a 1000x technology in a world where money can be printed out of thin air, right? And so can debt. Debt is infinite, and so is money. Well, I should say cash. The cash is infinite, the debt is infinite. So the fear mongering online and everywhere, well, we're at $37 trillion in debt, we're paying $1 trillion in interest every year. Well, if you think about it, like $1 trillion is a big number, right? But we've seen altcoins like get to $1 trillion altcoins, right? There's just like digits on a screen. You know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say here is that the savings technology of fiat currencies and debt is a losing game. You will lose your shirt, like over time. It's going to happen. So there is an argument to be made and adhered to, I think, with the HODL philosophy with Bitcoin is like, hey, I have acquired these Satoshis. Maybe there are 100,000 of them. Maybe there are 100 million of them, but I'm never going to sell them. And if I do sell some of them, it's going to be for something I really, 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 really need, or really, 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 really want. That cannot be purchased with Bitcoin, i.e. the state, right? The legal architecture that supports the US dollar, right? Both nationally and also internationally, is such that it hasn't adopted Bitcoin yet. Now, I do think in the future we will get to a legal architecture that includes Bitcoin as collateral. And when that happens, I hope to rent some of the Bitcoins out to corporate entities, or rent my Bitcoin out to nation states that need it for collateral purposes. So in other words, I think the Bitcoin will demand royalties or some sort of rent or fee where I can say, hey, here's $500,000 worth of Bitcoin to this city of whatever, city of Houston that needs it because it has this big bayou project that it has to build and it needs more collateral. Okay, well, you can use my Bitcoin and then you can pay me a royalty over time. And then, whatever taxes that they bring in, that money is funneled to me, or that cash is funneled to me, so I have some sort of income.
It's like a land rush, isn't it? Bitcoin is like a digital land rush, where if we think about, it's even better than that.
It is better than that because you can do more with it. You can build it. You can build on it, which Bitcoin Core and some of the other Lightning Network folks are building second and third layers on it. That's just the technology layer. That's like coding. But legally, you can also build like contracts on it. You can build what I just described, which is a collateral agreement with it. You can like give cash loans off of it, right? But moreover, you can take it with you, right? So, for example, I hate to say this, but I mentioned this in my own podcast, which is called Bitcoin in 30 Minutes. You can check it out on YouTube. It's a very amateur podcast. The audio is really bad, but basically, if you love hearing me talk, check it out. I mentioned this in the podcast, but let's say, for example, I'm Ukrainian, right? And let's say I lose my house because Russia has this thing going on or whatever, and they want to destroy my land, whatever. I don't have to hold my life savings or my ancestors' life savings in a Ukrainian dollar or even a US dollar or a euro. I can convert it instantaneously to Bitcoin and take it with me. So I can let's say, for example, I live in Malibu, right? And there's a fire risk that my house is going to burn down, right? And I'm going to lose a lot of value from my real estate, right? Why do that? Like, why hold real estate? It's way too risky at this point. Basically, just sell it immediately as soon as possible, and then smash buy Bitcoin. And then you have this indestructible digital collateral that you can take with you anywhere on the planet. Like, you have the private keys, the collateral, and this is where it kind of gets to the basics of Bitcoin. The actual Bitcoin resides in the blockchain, right? So it's on the internet everywhere and nowhere at the same time. It's everywhere. The internet's everywhere, but it's also nowhere. There's not one jurisdiction that the internet is present in, right? So the Bitcoin is in the blockchain on the internet. It's also in space, in satellites. It's also, oh, by the way, it's also in the mountains, right? So that there's some like really, really big time Bitcoiners that have their private keys in the mountains and running full nodes in the mountains, from what I understand. I don't know if that's still the case, but that was like years ago.
Swiss bunker level. I've seen documentaries that like go into these like bunkers in Switzerland that are nuclear blast resistant. And the level
2029.
Yeah. We gonna get our own bunker, but you know what? We're gonna do it right here in North Carolina. Ooh, okay,
spicy.
Why can't Grandfather Mountain protect my seed phrase? Probably because it is old and small and would get decimated by a nuclear blast. But we'll go check it out, okay? Because you never know.
Audition.
All right, North Carolina has plenty to offer. And by the way, I was born in Austin, Texas. So shout out to all of our Texas crew.
Yeah.
The state of Texas moving to adopt a Bitcoin standard over time, right? I mean, I think you all just declared, and you're a lawyer, so you know, legally in a year or two, I think 2027, the governor said gold would be accepted as money in Texas, which is the first step toward declaring Bitcoin to be used as money in Texas.
Very Texas thing to do.
Not to derail, but what are your thoughts on Texas? Like, what if Texas preempts America? You're talking about preemption. For like a year now, I've been thinking, man, what if Texas sets up a framework that allows it to adopt Bitcoin faster than the United States, and eventually Texas has a wealth that exceeds the country it belongs to?
It's an interesting idea. Definitely interesting. As a Texan, born and raised, I'm a 14th generation Texan. So my grandmother came in from the Canary Islands in Spain, back in the 1500s to this area of the planet, which was considered Mexico at the time. And then my grandfather and his grandfather were from Mexico. So I'm Spanish, Mexican American. And so I do feel a great connection with the land here, and I consider it my home. It just so happens that it's a great state too. It tends to be more conservative leaning, but there are some liberal hubs such as Houston. I think there are parts of Dallas that are also very liberal, and then Austin, of course. And at the end of the day, the philosophy, I think, with Texas is sovereignty, right? So whether it's state sovereignty, right, in terms of, these states are sovereign, the U.S. Constitution lays out a federalism type of structure, and states are sovereign, and they should be able to police their own states and set their own laws and things like that. Or they do, not that should, but they do. And that sovereignty philosophy, I think, kind of boils down all the way to the people. So people have a right to protect themselves and their property, people's property. It boils down to money too, right? So we're in an era, in my opinion, in Texas history, where the money is being focused on as something that we need to have sovereignty over. Will Texas have its own currency at some point in the future? I don't know. If it happened, would it shock me? No, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is consistent with Texas. Like they have their own like state dollar. You know what I mean? It's backed by Bitcoin, right? The Texas governor signed a law. Let's say hypothetically there's pension funds and also state treasury funds that have bought and held Bitcoin over time, and then later on, let's say by 2031, there's a token like the Texas token, right? And it's a digital token. It's on the Bitcoin ecosystem, or maybe it's on the Solana ecosystem, or maybe it's on the Ethereum ecosystem. I don't think it really matters, but the legal architecture and the state treasury can certify that the token is in fact, a state token, and that it is used in commerce because it has value. And the reason why it has value is because it's backed by Bitcoin. So it's very similar to a gold type of era where things were backed by this corporeal asset, this metal that was very rare. But here we have this digital asset that is not corporeal, that's purely digital and always will be. There's not a way to like make physical Bitcoins, but its creation is an act of nature and physics, right? And math, right? So you have the open source Bitcoin code. So there's the math, right? You have the nature in the sense that these miners are processing the transactions and mining for these Bitcoins, and it creates heat, right? And so you need electricity and you need, thermodynamics to, cool down the creation of a Bitcoin in the digital ecosystem and its nature, right? So in the sense that it has value because of its rarity and its scarcity. So yeah, it's a fascinating space to be in. And I think you had mentioned earlier, like, what are you passionate about? Those types of like concepts and ways of thinking just fascinate me as far as like the complexity of this Bitcoin space and how it has improved people's lives. Like those who get on board as soon as possible and hold on, my life has been way improved by Bitcoin. That's just my personal story. But I got on board really fast, like I do with most things. And I stayed convicted. I researched it. And I was like, yeah. And I tried to tell my family about it. But, you can't force people to want to, buy Bitcoin. What you can do, however, is buy some for them and say, hey, look, I'm going to hold this for you. And then in 5 years, I'll sell it back to you. Or in 5 years, I will give you some of it. And I've done that with some of my family members. I'm like, hey, here's some Bitcoin. I've done that with my nephews who are like 20 and 21 or 19 and 20. Like they're in college now. And I will literally send them, I don't know, $1,000 worth of Bitcoin because I want them to hold property. I want them to hold the Bitcoin. I want them to learn about the Bitcoin. I want them to be curious about it and understand what it is. And, oh, by the way, I'm expanding the network. So the network is becoming more expanded. And it's not just about me, it's about expansion of the network so that it grows stronger and larger and then appreciates in price as well, and also in influence.
So let's imagine, Vic, that a satillionaire in the audience wants a piece of this 1000x technology. I want to put in $1 and have it turn into $1,000. I want to put in $1,000 and have it turn into $100,000.
Nice.
Yeah. I want to put in $100,000 and have that turn into
mental math, Stuart.
Bro, like $1 billion? I don't even like a lot.
Quite a bit.
What would you recommend that someone listening to your episode do to stack their first sats?
So I have a mentee. He is just starting out, getting his GED. Doesn't have a lot of money at all. I sent him $50 in Bitcoin, and he was, I got some Bitcoin. All right, awesome. And I taught him a little bit about it. Again, expanding the network through, transferring some Satoshis to a different person. But I told him specifically, do not sell it. And I told my my younger brother, I was like, I highly suggest you not sell this, which is like, I gave him like $5,000 worth of Bitcoin. And I was like, and I told him why. I was like, well, because the interest on anything that you try to service, like a credit card, like let's say you have credit card debt, right? Your credit card debt is like 20%. The Bitcoin over time will exceed the credit card debt interest rate over time. Because the Bitcoin is growing, the Satoshis are growing over time. So at some point, the $5,000 or whatever much money will exceed the amount of that you have to pay off to service an interest debt. So my primary recommendation to someone who's just getting into the Bitcoin space is, number one, don't spend what you can't afford to lose, right? That's investing 101. Like you don't put $1,000 towards something if you can't pay your electricity bill, right? I mean, pay your light bill, pay your rent, pay everything that you absolutely need to survive, pay your gasoline bills, whatever you need to survive. Because I think the economy is going to actually get a lot worse here in a second. Once you have anything left over, whether it's $10, $20, put it into Bitcoin. Do the research online. Find whether it's Gemini, Kraken, Coinbase. There are so many other like crypto.com. There are so many other like platforms out there where you can convert your cash to Bitcoin, Satoshis, that is. Find the platform with the least amount of fees. All right. Personally, I'm not a fan of Coinbase. Way too high fees. You're going to charge me $2.99 to make a $30 purchase? No, thank you. I ain't doing that. So I like to go to Kraken, and they're not sponsoring me, and I'm not endorsing them one way or the other. But that's my personal platform, and I'm sure there are better, lower fees out there. But I like Kraken, Kraken. And at the end of the month, any money that I have left over, like I just bought $100 worth of Bitcoin last week, and I will continue to do that until it gets to my price target, which is 1.75 million. That's just me. I have a little bit of money left over at the end of the month, and that's what I choose to do with it. I do not have a savings account. I do not have a cash savings account. I do not have any stocks. I do not have any bonds. Well, actually, I do have some bonds. I have bonds because I can't sell them. So I went to U.S. Treasury Direct, which is online. I bought some bonds back in the day before I was a Bitcoiner, and now I can't sell them. So, right?
So don't do that.
Because you're locked in. When you buy a bond, you're in a legal agreement. You're in a legal agreement with the U.S. government, and they will tell you, here's how much interest I'm going to pay. Here's how the Treasury inflation protected securities. If it's an inflation protected bond, here's that. Well, my legal agreement says I can't sell the bond until 2026, I think it is. So that sucks. Because if I had known earlier, I would have just smash bought Bitcoin. And I don't own real estate. And I won't own real estate because I think real estate's going to correct downward too. So my recommendation, do the research, buy a little bit, buy what you can afford.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
That's good.
Well, Vic, it's clear that there is more to Bitcoin than we will ever be able to fit into a single chat about sats. So we do ask each of our guests, especially our 4 satillionaires who have found us, listened to us, gone to our website, and signed up to come on the show, if they'd be willing to come back on in 9 months to give us an update on their Bitcoin baby, would you be willing to do that for us, Vic?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Let's go.
Excellent.
And we're going to be able to unpack whether the economy is a lot worse than it was when we taped this show. The fact that you have no savings account, no real estate, you're going all in on Bitcoin except for some bonds. You have been bonded to the government. Good. They're like, okay, thanks for your money, little bud. Better not. Yeah, thumbs down on the bond. So we'll be able to keep going with Vic, but for now.
And the real question that I think we're all going to wait to see in 9 months is Bitcoin at 1.75 million.
And even if it is, Vic will be like, well, you didn't get there quick enough, homie. That's going to be 1.8 for you, sir. It's like, ow. He's going to get to 1 point. He's like, no, not fast. It's going to be 1.9, dog. Like, it's like, we can't meet Vic's standards. Personally, I'm in the $44 million camp with number 62, Jeff Booth, who takes the 900 trillion in worldwide wealth as estimated, I believe, by Luke Groman, divided that mug by 21 million, and he gets $44 million of Bitcoin. So that's my boy, Jeff Booth, number 62. Dang. What a legend. Right. Let's recap here with Vic. So Vic found Bitcoin during I believe it was 2017, there was a lot of market activity during that time. It was around like 3, it popped up to 20, it came back down. And he was on that metro in Washington, D.C., and realized that this Bitcoin, even though it was maybe, I think, on the way down when you were buying it, it's 1000x technology. It is an alternative to what you won't even call money. You won't even call the US dollar money. You're only willing to refer to it as cash because you're not willing to give the US dollar that honorific title of money, which I think that's the hardest.
That's my personal opinion.
I love it.
That's just me.
I love it. We've talked a lot on this show about how the U.S. dollar is not good money, but we're at least giving
acknowledging that it's money.
Yeah, Vic's like, nah.
I think we might have to take a page out of this book.
Yeah,
legal tender.
Yeah, legal. It's got that stamp on it. So you found it. You got your conviction in it. You started buying it. And today, the Bitcoin that you bought back in 2017, you still have it. You've held it through all the highs and lows since then. And if you bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin when Bitcoin was $3,200 or $3,500 back in 2017, then today, you've got $35,000 to $40,000. Just in that your 1,000 is now 35 to 40,000 just for hanging on to it.
Yeah,
it's great. Like that global battery that number 123 Sean talked to us about.
Yes.
The energy you put into Bitcoin 8 years ago has grown just more than any other option we have out there. So it's 1000x technology, it's savings technology, it's something that you believe in. And you're really not going to sell any of it until it reaches a price target that is much higher than it is today. And even then, it will only be in the amount required to buy something that you really, really, really want or really, really, really need. You've got your own podcast.
Like an emergency.
Like an emergency.
Yeah.
If there was
Bitcoin in 30 minutes is the name of your podcast. Yeah. You're doing what you can do to spread the Bitcoin signal, including giving Satoshis to other people in your network, which is just what we do right here.
Yep.
And I got to tell you, it feels amazing to just give Satoshis out to people and help them become brand new Bitcoiners. So let's take a break for our sponsor here, Ithaca Hummus.
So you selected the flavor lemon garlic. Are you familiar with Ithaca hummus?
No, I'm not familiar with it. But it looks good.
It is the absolute best hummus you will ever have in your whole life. Period, exclamation mark, ever.
It's just good.
Yeah. And so lemon garlic was the first flavor that Ithaca made. It started in the Ithaca Farmers Market in New York. And so we are going to act as your taste buds today with the freshest flavors of Ithaca hummus, lemon garlic.
Here we go. Ready? Cheers.
Cheers.
Man.
So lemony. The lemon starts, the garlic comes in, the lemon comes after.
Fat glob.
I'm
going back in.
Do it. So good. So we recommend that you try Ithaca hummus next time you go to the grocery store.
I mean,
all right, I'll give it a shot.
I could eat a huge amount of that, Vic. A large amount. All right. Let's make Vic his offer.
All right. So Vic, here at Sat Chats, we believe in value for value. And so in exchange for your time, we'd like to offer you your choice of $50 in cash or $50 in Bitcoin, which comes
Bitcoin.
to $44,000.
Cash.
Dude, let's go. I'm going to go back through.
Didn't even finish the pitch.
I'm going to go through.
I didn't know you guys were going to do that.
Oh, yeah. Every single episode of Sat Chats finishes with us putting our money where
seriously want to give away.
And then we
want to give out $5,000 worth of Bitcoin? That's crazy.
Isn't that wild? And we have a game show that is that we play live at 11 a.m. Eastern on Fridays, where you can play to win your chance of 1 million Satoshis.
Yeah. Dude, we're like a tiny Bitcoin Mr. Beast, Vic. We hand out $50 worth of Bitcoin for every episode of Sat Chats. We play for 1 million sats every single week on TikTok Next Block.
And then when you subscribe, you enter in your chance to win 2 million sats. And as we grow, the sats get larger as well.
Yeah, and the bitcoinwell.com/satchats, when you sign up there, you get 2 coin tosses and could win 2 million sats from them. So the Satoshis are freaking flying everywhere.
Yeah, we're sort of the Oprah of Satoshis.
Very generous.
Exactly.
You get a Satoshi. You get a Satoshi.
Yeah, we need it. We need Anna Bevan to do that's another going to be a YouTube short.
We'll be doing that.
All right, so you picked the 44,000, and it's going to be some trivia on TikTok Next Block, by the way. How many guests just completely don't even wait for us to finish the offer? They hear cash and like, no, not the cash.
No.
I don't even care how many sats it is. I'm just taking the sats. That's it. So you bring our show scoreboard to 120 guests who have stacked the sats and 9 who have chosen the cash. So I'm really happy with that record.
Me too. That's pretty solid.
Okay.
Vic, it looks like we can put your Bitcoin in 30 minutes YouTube channel in the show notes for those who want to engage with you. So if you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. Turn on notifications while you're at it. We want 10,000 satillionaires underneath our Yuletide tree. So to thank you for helping us get there, we will choose one from among you and drop 2 million sats on your head.
It's going to be great.
So December 25th, bring all your friends and family to Sat Chats. Let's create an army of satillionaires now. There's other ways to support and sponsor the show. It's in our show notes along with Vic's info. Thanks so much for spending this time with us. Thank you so much for being down here in the orange pill trenches with us, doing Satoshi's work every single day in the studio here in Raleigh.
Yep.
Remember, Sat Chats is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice. Also, our guests' views are their own. Until next time, keep stacking doom sats!